Hi, everyone. I am Patty, and I want to thank you for joining one of the ELL chats that I have shared recently. Specifically, today's topic was on designing learning opportunities for our students in our new digital classrooms, their new digital classrooms. And I had this topic up for a discussion last Tuesday, and I was able to have some really nice time talking to different teachers about how they were planning their learning opportunities for their students. And we just talked about all the considerations that we need to have in place, um, knowing all the factors that are in place right now for our students and their families and our homes as well. So today I'm going to share our conversation with you, and I'm hoping that you will find it as helpful. And let's continue. Let's see. So thinking about all the questions that we as teachers have, anytime we might have any kind of a staff meeting or new structures in place in our schools. Well, now we're in a new normal, and our classrooms are no longer, available to us. But we're having these conversations about, distance learning, remote learning, digital classrooms. What do they look like? How is everyone organizing these learning plans? What are these new terms that we're hearing, asynchronous and synchronous instructions, and you know are asked to have them, and how do I balance them? What should I consider when designing these plans and asking students to do the work? What what do my students need right now? What are their needs at home? um Geez, am I even just doing this right? And am I supposed to ask parents to help with students? I mean, am I the only one feeling like this? And is there anyone out there that will, share any ideas or plan with me? And these are just a few and true questions that are roaming in our minds as we are meeting now in Zoom conferences with our principal and colleagues. you know, Not everyone feels comfortable asking the questions or navigating through these new tech tools. So, who will ask these questions for me, and who is available to help? And geez Louise, we just need some time. So, I'm hoping that by creating the ELL chats and having teachers K-12 join me, and we could have these conversations. The groups the teachers who are coming in are really being thoughtful and really being good listeners and willing to share. And if they feel safe, I think that's the best place, is we are feeling the same way. So that's how our conversation began. In regards to this asynchronous, synchronous instruction that we're being asked to incorporate through the phases, wanted to bring a little clarity to this. Um, so, asynchronous, when we're asked to provide asynchronous instruction, we have to think about the things that we're asking our students to do independently, like maybe read a book, write in a journal. I provide a question, you answered, maybe on a platform like Google Classroom. It's the work that I'm asking you to do. Maybe your students received a packet from you. All the things that really may have a few instructions, and there is time for students to complete at home away from the teacher. Synchronous instruction is when we are going to meet with our students in a live session, a place where our students could have a conversation with one another and with the teacher. So, synchronous instruction allows students to ask questions, and that we can provide immediate feedback. We can bring clarity, all the things that take a look, even though we can email and although we can, use a Google Classroom to get those questions answered, there is synchronous instruction is going to allow teachers to carry on, the I guess the best way, the culture of the classroom, the best way possible. It's a great way to connect with our students. And I also want to make sure that in our district, we're using Zoom, and the idea of a live platform like Zoom allows us to interact with one each other, seeing each other. But I wanted to bring up that you could also use a telephone when students call in, and I have a conversation with them, and they're joining us. Um, we want to make sure that that is also available to them. Everybody has, maybe experiencing different technical, problems, maybe the Wi-Fi, or they may not have a device. So a phone call is also synchronous instruction, and that is what these two platforms are. And the idea that we're supposed to balance them now in this phase that we're coming into. Um, at our district, and we're going to talk about that and what that would look like in a plan. But before I do, I really want to start here, and I'm going to take a little time here because I really want this this to set deep into your heart, if you want to say. I just want you to think about this. I want you to give yourself and your students grace. There's no way that we're going to be able to teach and learn the same way that we did just a few weeks ago. It's different now. There's new things happening, new changes. And so things that are new to you and your family are also new to your students and their families. And all of us, we're all being told to live differently. We need to, we're being told that, this is going to be the best way to help spread a virus. And by this whole experience of closing schools and businesses and staying safe in our homes, that's a phenomena. This is across all the many homes and states and countries, and everyone is trying to cope with this. So how can we expect to learn and teach the same way? How? Teachers, we're not in our classrooms, obviously. We do not have our students with us. That is not happening. So there's no way that you have the ability to control your students' learning environment now. There was a time when in our classrooms we can control where we put the paper, where the sharpener is, the routines and procedures for, getting up and going out to use the restroom, or who's coming into our classroom. All those things are no longer, the rhythm of your class. It's gone. You cannot control your students' learning environment. They're at home. So with that, please don't create anything, any assignment that may cause your students stress or even their family stress. And I think, about that because we're no longer able to teach and learn the same way, even though you can see them on Zoom, or you're having a great back and forth dialogue through Google Classroom or whatever that be. That's your communication. That we are fortunate to have that communication with one another. But we have to also take care of that. See, we don't want to start creating busy work. It's not the time right now. And the work that you're just in, I know you may have the best intention to provide a lot of work. Maybe the parents are asking for it. Maybe it's just things, a whole bunch of activities that you have for kids to do so they're not bored. But that busy work, how did you message that? See, the way someone receives it could feel, to one family, they may understand, oh, I get it. The teacher is providing this in case you want to practice this, to have fun. While other homes, they may consider it something that has to be done. The other teachers, please don't feel that this is, I know in your bed in your you have the mindset of I want to take care of my students. I want to prepare them. This is not the time. And there's no way you can rush through a semester of worth of work. Don't assign 4 chapters a week. There's no way that this is going to be able to actually be kept and processed and for your students to carry over because you are not teaching and learning the same way because you cannot control your students' learning environment. That is why that work is not going to help. In fact, right now, the only thing you should be really considering is that every time that you are able to connect with your students, that they are logging on, that they are sitting, waiting, and having some form of communication. Wow, that is impressive. Please make them feel important. When you have a live session and you're in Zoom, smile, teachers. Smile and laugh and joke, even when it's hard for us. Because if we're carrying on with this, I have to get this done, you better do this work, or what do you think it's going to be like for you next year if you don't know how to do this or that? Don't scare them away. The way you are messaging, even though it is with your best intentions, you have no control over their learning environment, and you may experience that they may not log on again. So, another thing I want you to keep in mind is, you know, don't spend your time comparing yourself to other teachers right now. Don't compare your assignments, your creativity, your lesson designs, your technological skill level. No. Of course every teacher is at a different level of technology skill. Everyone is unique, just like your students. Teachers, best thing is for you to keep learning at your own pace, whatever that is. And you keep practicing and be prepared that you're going to make mistakes right now. But this right here, I want you to stop and reflect and think that what can you adjust to make it better? What can you do so that it is going to flow? Maybe you assigned a few too many things, and it's okay to take things off. It's okay to readjust a font or a page or whatever you had said. It's okay. And don't give up on trying something new. Learn it at your own pace. Try again. Ask for help. And I'm hearing a lot of teachers, you're on a lot. Oh, give yourself a break. You are doing an amazing job. So I know I spent a little time here. I really wanted you to hear this before we start looking at any planning or any tools. This here is the message I'm hoping that you're leaving with. Give yourself grace and your students grace as well. Oh boy. Oh boy. So, teachers, I want to think about that first week that you began working from home. Close your eyes. Think about that. I mean, let's stop, just start there. That idea like, oh, where did you sit down to, create that first little working space? Was it just, pop yourself on the couch or in the kitchen table, or did you have an office? Um, think about that first, Zoom session you had, with your staff. Was that the first time you used that app? The tools, the device you're using is the first time that you're using a laptop or an iPad. Um, how did you seek help? I mean, help not only in navigating through these tools, educational tools, but who helped you at home? Were you reaching out to your oldest child, or balancing your with your spouse or anyone else? And with all of that going on, how did you communicate with your students that first week? What was that like? Was it an email? Was it, remind? Was Zoom your first time that you communicated, or was it a postcard that you sent to them. And what did you ask them to do? Like, what did you create that first week? Did you have in mind that they were going to be at home for only 2 weeks? So you sent them off with tons of, packets and, assignments from read from here to there, these multiple chapters. And did you send them home with a lot of things? Or did you just run out and, whatever you could gather the best you could, some things? What did that look like? I'm assuming, I'm sure there was that, there's a lot of changes in the rhythm of how you were balancing work and family and your home. Definitely, since that first day you were working at home, something must have been, there have been some major changes. I just want to let you know that, you know what, you must expect to keep making changes because you're going to see that your family's needs, maybe you changed what time you got up, or you wanted to start a new routine with breakfast, or who's handling, getting, the things together in the morning, or maybe you squeezing in some exercise at a different time. I don't know, but something you're starting to make, you're starting to create a different rhythm. And with that, you're noticing your students' needs. Maybe that packet you send is no longer available, or someone lost it, or you're finding out that the students aren't logging on, or hey, you're finding out that more kids are joining. But you're also finding out what your needs were too. You need to start thinking about how much time you're spending on your devices, and how much you need to also think about your wellness. So I like these little pictures, like definitely it makes me think about, where I started as well too. Okay. So we're going to be looking at some plans, and I'm going to be sharing a few things that I have organized for myself. I do not have my own classroom with students. I have a classroom of teachers that I enjoy meeting with, and I'm trying to organize, and be a resource to all my teachers, K 12, anyone, someone that I've always worked with, or new teachers who are reaching out to me. So, my intention is always to organize it in a way that it's manageable and accessible for everyone. So I wanted to bring that to you as well. I wanted to show how I'm creating these weekly plans. And I'm looking at it as a learning process, and I'm hoping that we can see how we can implement that with you as well in your class. And that our students need routines, and so do their families, and of course us. And like I mentioned, it needs to be accessible for all students, and we need to take in consideration, that student engagement. And what I mean by that, I'm talking about the work that we're assigning. I want you to think about that. Like when you're sitting down designing your student's learning plan, why are you assigning those tasks? Hmm. Is it really something that just is going to be done because I want to keep them busy? Is it something that I know that I remember that we really need to practice this skill? Um, how much time am I going to expect my students to be spending on these tasks? I really want you to think about this, and always keep in mind you are no longer in the classroom, and you have no control over your students' learning environment. So, when you're thinking about those tasks, where do you think that your students will probably have a little struggle with that task, and who would be there to support them? I mean, thinking about, are you assuming that someone will or even can help? Is there someone at home? Is it a parent? Are they staying with grandma? Is grandma, fluent in English? Or all these factors you have to consider. And when I think about, when I say here about where will they struggle, I'm talking about not just, a math problem. I'm talking about navigating through all these links and codes and tools that may be new to them as well. So you have to think about that. Like, what are you asking them to use? Um, is there a routine or procedure that your students did well in your class? And can you bring it into this new learning environment? And, so think about that. Think about those routines and procedures when you were in your classroom. Did you start off with word of the day, or a morning song, or was it a journal time? And what did you do in your class that the kids already knew the rhythm, the expectation? It may have been the flow of how we first were going to do this, this, and this, and how can that we bring that into obviously modified into your way you're designing your weekly plans. When you're asking your students to do something new, those skills that they're practicing that they might be struggling with, I want you to think about that. How are you to model that? Are you teaching them live through Zoom sessions? I mean, how much time then are you going to be on Zoom? Are you recording them on Screencastify? Which would be the best tool to use, for asynchronous and synchronous instruction based on time, based on needs. Um, so I'm going to share with you where I see that we can use those two platforms. All right, so I'd like to share first my um, ELL coffee chat weekly calendar that I'm sharing with all the teachers. Now, I wanted to just right off the bat tell you that the first time I started communicating with teachers, this did not exist. This I had no idea, just like you. The only thing that I had created for anyone was a Padlet of resources, and I just put tons and tons and tons of resources. It could be even overwhelming. And if you've noticed, every day you might be receiving emails from different places and vendors, and here I can help you with this and that, and it can be very overwhelming. So I know I did that, and I was communicating with teachers through email, and then when Zoom sessions started, just anyone that would just hop on and just um, trying to be there for everyone. There was no topics. And as went by, I wanted to organize how I met with teachers, how teachers could feel that they could come to me as a resource. And I didn't want it to be something that was complicated. So I wanted to organize my this for teachers, and keeping in mind that I know that since I didn't know everybody's schedule, I know that sometimes everybody's working with students. I knew that, and I still don't know their times. And then I still know that teachers, you're meeting with staff, with your weekly staff meetings with your principal, and I know that you might be meeting with another group of teachers planning. So where was I going to fit into this? So I wanted to create opportunities, different opportunities. And so a weekly planner organized it best I could with different topics. And what I ended up doing was emailing this whole entire this is a Google slide, and this was my first page. And then after that, each page that I added was a different resource for anyone that wanted to continue. They just hop on and know that, where did Patty put that? It's all there. I shared it in an email. In that email, it also shared Screencastify video, and I'll share yet with you. I wanted teachers to be able to navigate through this and um, be able to go and find um, how to manage and request a Zoom link to participate in some of these coffee chats. So I want to share with you the entire presentation. This is exactly how you have seen, if you've had an opportunity, what my tools look like. So there will be a page, the weekly calendar, and I actually created a Screencastify video that I send the link to everyone in the email, and I also embedded it in the presentation.
Hi everyone, it's Patty.
Thinking that
Oh my gosh,
I really thought it was important that there should be an intro on what all this meant. It was a 13-minute video, sharing with teachers how to use this weekly planner and really what each of those topics that I'm sharing meant. So that was in my email, and I also added in the last page here as well. Now, with that, that was my first one, by the way. I want to also be very transparent and let everyone know that, my assumption that this was just like this perfect planner, it wasn't. I've ran into things that teachers uh, struggled with. So one thing was, how do I get the link to if I want to attend this how-to video? At first, I thought by providing this icon here with, hey, all you have to do is just sign up for a coffee chat. I thought that that was going to be all that the teachers need to do, and I created a Google form. I want to let them know, that I would be sending them a link as soon as they signed up for either one chat or multiple chats. And all they had to do was read one and pick which one they wanted to attend, all one or all, and then submit it. But there was something there, even when I communicated to them, that it was not as accessible to them. And I had to think about its timing. Maybe my video was too long, or I don't know. I just have to be very clear with my words. So I'm going to work on that as well. Another thing that I did was in the Screencastify video, as I'm going through sharing, hey, sign up here if you want to attend any of these sessions. I also shared that, hey, at the bottom, if any of these times or sessions don't work for you, you want to plan with me or you want me to, plan with your team, click here and it'll take you to a platform for you to choose the best time that works for you. So I thought, okay, I'm always going to have this. The things I'm also being is I want to be consistent on what my teachers are seeing, so they will always know that this is the place where they can go to just schedule meeting one-on-ones with me. Now I'm navigating through this. Make sure all teachers know how to sign up. I'm also going to add them here as well. Every time that someone clicks the link there, that'll still take them to the same form. And I also wanted them to know that there's a Monday no matter what. Even if you can't attend any of these, I'm hoping that my teachers will know that they can check in with me. I really want to know how everyone's doing. And this Google form is a little wellness check to allow me to find out, with something cute that, how are teachers feeling? And there's also a platform for them to ask me anything or share something that they need. And then I have a little place here for just a couple of, housekeeping things. But keeping it simple and quick and just enough that I know that maybe my teachers can just click. I don't want too much writing in that. I also have here the at the bottom of the screen, the hold on. The bottom of the screen, you're going to see that there's also a week, and it'll show what days this is, because now they're going to be similar. I want them to know which week this is. Okay, so that is my ELL coffee chat. And now I want to show you what I used. And if this was my classroom, I would definitely use these tools as well. I use Google Slides. And I think that's the best tool to keeping everything organized and in one place. And it's a great way to keep it as a process, like a timeline. I'm using Google Forms as my check-ins, but teachers, you can also use them for exit tickets. And my advice to you is to keep it quick and simple. We don't want to spend a lot of time on having to write things and, think about, how much time your students would dedicate to that. I'm using Screencastify as a way for my asynchronous instruction, so teachers could watch things on their own even after I do some kind of a meeting where I'm recording. I'm adding little links there so teachers can see how-to videos, but they're number one, they're going to see the intro of the week through Screencastify. Zoom is going to be where I'm having the live chats, the ELL coffee chats, and teachers sign up and join. So I could have a large group or I could be meeting with a small group. It's also a place where I meet with my one-on-one for planning with my teachers and thinking about that. And I just email it off. And I'm also using email, and I'm also using Google Classroom to post this. And what I want to show you with Google Classroom and having a conversation with some teachers and talking to me about um, how it could be difficult for their students to find that one thing that they shared that one time, because the kids are having to scroll down and look for things and they could get lost in all this. So just think, you can just send a simple announcement. Hi students, welcome to week 3 of our distance learning. You're going to find please watch the Screencastify video to show what to expect for this week. And then after that, I will be sending you your Google Classroom um, weekly calendar PowerPoint. So now the kids will all have it all in one place instead of having to keep adding multiple assignments. So that's why I think Google Slides would be a best tool for you to use. So that way your students can find all the things that they need. So for my teachers now, when they receive a Google Slide, it's going to be that one slide. They'll know where they found it. And for every slide, I'm always going to have a resource page and the things that will always be consistent. One thing, these tools are, again, the 4 tools that I use: Google Slides, Google Forms, Screencastify, and Zoom. These are also great for management, but they're also really great for our accommodating for our ELs. Um, Using Google Slides in a process format, I could add visuals and all of these things, we know that this is what our students need. We can still use these um, support systems even while we are away from our students. Our students can benefit from the visuals, from the tutorials from Screencastify, for them to be able to pause and replay. um, the students would benefit from small groups, and you can even use that when you're doing your Zoom meetings. You could have your meeting with a large group, and then you could ask students to on different days to meet in smaller groups. Partner work is really empowering as well for our ELs, for them to use any kind of Google document shared, and they can work on that together. These are color coding and subtitles. Those, I just can't tell you how much they would benefit from all these little things. And the subtitles, you can use it once once I recorded on Screencastify. You notice I save it not only to my Google Drive and to the Google Classroom, but I also save it on YouTube. And by saving it on YouTube, YouTube allows me to embed subtitles. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to be sharing now um, those Google Slides. So slide 1 will be your title page with your classroom and the date. You're going to have on the second page a 5-day planner if you choose to organize this way. You could also have the following pages the following slides 3 to 7 could be a slide for each day of the week that you would go in detail for what you expect them to do. And then now always add a slide for them to have as a resource page or a wellness check as an exit ticket. You decide. So this would be the consistency, the organization of how you're going to have your students learning flow. Keep it simple, organized. So here is my demo. If I was teaching an ELD class, this is how I would design my classroom. Here's my page. Here's the date so my students know what week we are entering. And I'm going to keep it organized Monday through Friday. Um, this would be a place where my students would know that on some days when I meet with them in small groups, this would be the links that would take them to a page that'll show what days of the week I'm meeting with them. At the bottom of the page, I'll always have how they can get in touch with me so we can meet one on one for a meeting, for we call them little conferences. So these two things will always be consistent. The flow will be consistent. I like to use the Monday through Friday. And if you notice, then there is only a few things per day that I'm asking students to do. Let's start with our Monday. This is where I'm going to check in with my students. So even the icon, they're going to start to know that they're going to be filling out Google form. There's going to be a video for them to watch. I'll use this icon to be consistent as well. And they're going to be using Flipgrid. And the icon will also be consistent. I'm noticing that I'm hoping my students will notice that there's going to be 2 days out of the week that they're going to meet as a full class, and that's our virtual class on Zoom and Zoom. And again, they're going to navigate through a few things that need to be done for that week. Now, my next page is going to go into discussing really in detail what Monday looks like. So Monday, I will, as I have recorded on Screencastify that I'm sharing with them, I go into, more with the kids and let them know what needs expected to do. I would click on the Google form and ask them to fill it out, how to fill it out. And then, of course, the video, I'll ask them to always watch this video before they complete any assignments. This might be important message. There will always be an important message for them to do. And that they're going to be recording their opinion, put their password, which, by the way, this is available to you as well. And at the top right, if you notice, I'm putting a little picture here. I want to entice them and get them thinking about what our theme is. Maybe it could be some videos we're going to be watching, pictures we're going to be looking at, the conversations that we're going to have. And the kids, all these things are going to be easy for them to just click on, and it should take them there and let them know what is going to be the work for today. So this week they're going to be on Flipgrid. On Monday, I will let them know that they will have to watch a video, and then they're going to be answering this question: how has coronavirus affected your family and your life? And what is your opinion about how to best help the spread of the virus? In my Screencastify video, that's exactly what I would do. And I would remind them, that they can use these tools. I would actually push this and navigate like what are the places that they need to play and then where they would need to record. I think that something that I would add here would be that what if I had a student that just needed a quick tutorial on how to use Flipgrid? I might have put another how-to little video here, and I might say something. If you want to remember how to use Flipgrid, please watch this video that I recorded on YouTube, which is my Screencastify. So that would be my Monday work. And then notice the colors. And as I go, each slide after this will be the same color of the slide of the weekly planner. So yellow for Monday, this blue for Tuesday. Again, making sure that they have access to where, the time that they're going to be. If you notice, I didn't put the time in the weekly planner here. I might have more details. Maybe here might be something like, if you're a little one, might be, hey, don't forget to bring your teddy bear to, our Zoom session, or in this Zoom session, if you may bring, a snack, or students, don't forget to bring your book or anything, or your journal. That would be something that I would place here. And then again, I'm still putting little things here to remind them, keep them wondering, thinking about the topic. And then I'm going to use something that they'll always know at this page. Now, I'm just trying to make it so that they can see consistently, oh, this is the day I get to meet with a teacher. Here is the same thing. And I'm also implementing things that I know we've used in the classroom. So I would not, unless I'm taking and really want to take the time during my Zoom sessions to teach them something, a new app, then I have to be prepared that is it going to be easy enough for them to navigate through it on their own? Will maybe a parent be there watching? Because you have to keep that in mind. So it could just be that, for instance, it would be maybe I'm modeling and I would have control of using vocabulary just for the video song. But again, whatever I'm putting out is I know that my students have used it and I can just do a little how-to tutorial to help them remember how to use it. And when I really want you to think about that, like how many codes will they need to memorize? All those factors. How many times are they going to ask mom help or big brother or something? So keep that in mind. If you notice, I also put here in bright yellow, this is going to be one of the days I'm going to do a small conference. This is Wednesday, and I'm going to be seeing two groups. And these are the times I'll be meeting with those two groups. And if you're starting to consider small group instruction, think about how you did it at in your classroom. Did you have a group name, group, carrots or group zebras? I don't know what you might have had. Group A, group B. Um, and if this is not a term you used, then I would just say, see the list that is created on the first page, and the kids will get to navigate, who's going to go to that session with you. Here's another day. Oh, it looks like it's going to be another day where I see my teacher because I see the big button, I see the Zoom sign, I see this picture that my teacher usually puts here to remind me that we're going to be meeting as a class. Oops, I forgot to put the date. I should have the date, the time here, and the link as well. But here we'll take them there. And I can continue with the same thing. You see, I'm always putting a little more information for them to navigate. So this last page is a resource page that I created, and this Padlet works pretty well. I don't know where you might have some tools for your students. Maybe you've created things already, and I don't want you to throw and stop and no longer use anymore. Even though as you're watching this, you're like, oh my gosh, maybe my other things did look overwhelming, or it was too much, or I want to organize the how does Patty. What do you do with the things that you already have? So I have here a Padlet that I create specifically class tools for students, and I make sure that my students know that this is a resource to use when they need extra help, or if they just want to practice. And notice the word if you want to practice your learning skills, because that is the weight of the word. If you want, I'm giving you a choice there. And so the parent doesn't have to say, did your teacher said you had to do it? No, my teacher said if I wanted to do it. Let's look at this tool real quick. And Padlet is organized for, remember, I'm pretending I'm an ELD teacher. um, we would be using some tools that I think that they could use on their own, tools for writing to practice more of their reading, tools for practicing English skills without me. And these are all things that they would be using, independently. Also, a good category is technology and tools that they might need to refer to in case they forgot how to use it. Considering different languages, if you can get that. I passed one tool here. This one was created by Ashley McGrath, one of the teachers in our district, created a tool that for parents on how to use Zoom. I might add a category here that would say just for fun. And that would, add a couple of things here that that they might enjoy, um, watching on a weekend or doing on the weekend or whatever they choose to do. So again, the weight of the word is really important. All right, so that would be my how I ended my class. That's how I emailed it off or added to my Google Classroom in one package. And notice then if something were to go awry, like I noticed here, that I did not have the time, I could always fix that, right? Because I'm the one who owns it. I could fix it. I could eliminate things. I could add some things, but I really want to keep it consistent because I don't want to surprise kids with it. I'd rather be able to take things away than to add more. So that is what a weekly planner is designed. And before I move on, I know I've had a lot of questions before. Teachers were asking me how I created this, or did I get it? Did I purchase it? Where can they find this? I created this, and I'll be sharing with you how I made this at the end of this video. And now I want to take you to see um, some more examples that teachers have shared with me, and also things that I have found in different platforms like Twitter and what other teachers are doing. So, this planner is designed by one of our teachers, Prabhati Crosnell at Hollingworth, and her team. Her first grade team created this learning plan, and I wanted to share something. I wanted you to see that there. This one is from the week of April 6th through the 10th, and let's open it so you can see. I want you to see what it has, how they created, what platform they used. They used a document, a Google document, and they had make sure to add um, their categories at the top. I like this wording, suggested schedule. Again, remember the weight of your words is really empowering. And they added links and pictures and make sure to add those. So you have access to this. She, Prabhati, was definitely someone that is always willing to share. So that's what they have here. Now, this was an April, I believe, again, it was April 6th, and a little message to their parents. So, the next slide shows their next learning plan that they changed for this week on April 20th. So, even the way that visually I can see there's been changes, and that's really important. Again, they're taking in consideration things that they've noticed that they needed to change, what was more manageable for their students and their families and themselves as well. And they try to keep things consistent, again, with the visuals but I'm noticing that they did have some changes. So that is there for you. And that was a Google document that how they chose to design their work. And the next one is a teacher from another district. Actually, I got my hands on this one because one of our teachers in our district, a friend of mine, her son attends this classroom, and I wanted to share. It just is really beautifully done, but this is one day of work. So let's go ahead and look at that. And I wanted to let you know that her son, she has shared with us, is on the spectrum, a highly functioning student. Um, super, super cute. And he's always waiting and eager to find out what his teacher has shared for him to do. So really nicely planned. There's a lot of pictures. They even have themes like pajama day, and they have links, and they have schedules of where they're going to meet for Zoom. They already know specifically ahead of time what has to be done, and noticing that they're putting little icons on things that must be done. And they just have a lot of things for kids to do. And some things are also may do's, like this. And they try to incorporate something that they've always done. They always did a word of the day in the classroom, and they wanted to add that. So as you're looking through this looks really nice. And again, it's one day of work. This is all just one day. And remember, my friend's son is always eager to do this and excited to do this, but he does need support. And my friend shared with me, as much as he wants to do this, he does need my help. And my friend, she's like working. She's one of our teachers too. So, trying to support her son to do what he wishes he would like to be able to do, like all his other classmates, is just can be daunting. And even though she's an educator, could help her. She still has to balance work, and she does know these terms, and she does her best to help as well. But what about those families who don't have someone at home, or who don't know how to best support someone with needs, in a classroom? Like, yeah, what are you doing? How are you messaging that out? How are you creating um, learning opportunities for them? Yes, we want our students to be challenged and to try and to have that mindset that I can do it. But maybe it's the idea of just simple messaging of students, this is what I'm hoping we can do. You only need to do this. You only need to do this. Don't worry about that. But when we're saying you have to do this, you have to do that. And it's just like everything's there. And believe me, the best intention I know is in these teachers to think, I'm going to keep it going just much as normal as it was in our classroom. And they did. They kept it as if though they were in school still. But what did I tell you at the beginning? You're not in school right now. You have no control of your students' learning environment, and we cannot learn and teach the same way. So please consider that. The next slide is another way of putting out the work. This teacher did not do a Monday through Friday. This is just on a slide with different, the idea of it's a process of link, learn, vocab, apply, show, reflect. Lots of links to the videos and screencastify, exit. Oh, I like this terminology, feeling extra. We'll try this. And I know that keeping it simple and clean is really important for students to navigate through. Those icons as well. Another teacher who, again, is not doing it as a Monday through Friday, but just giving them things to do that week to keep it at their own pace. There's a place for them to know how they can meet with their teacher. Here's the schedule. Um, things that they were used to doing, and they're using it as like in a question format, and just sharing that she misses her student. It's really nice. Now this teacher is a ELD educator as well, and he's teaching in another country English. So some things they've been doing this for a while now. This is plan I'm going to share. It's pretty long. But looking at, they have little things too, like the blue is a must do and greens are optional. Can do if there's other activities are done. They have it as, again, what pacing they're in. Notice this time, and I wanted to keep saying that. Please do not think that you're going to do this, because this is not even the full schedule. Um, they have been doing this for a while, so the kids, this is how they go to school. So this is normal for them. So they're going to have, basically an hour for each of the content areas. So, but there's things that you might want to use, like, one time shot. This again is on a Google document. They provided the resources there, what time their meetings are at, and on Monday through Friday. Okay. Now, going back to the tool that I created, I also want you to think about how when you start to create it and moving. I didn't just create something to make it look cute. There should be a reason why you're choosing to do the things that you do. It doesn't have to be Monday through Friday, so like we shared. Maybe it was, something as in, again, content based. And if this was an ELD class, then I would say I would have activities, things that I know that we need to practice, and things I would list here then: read and speak, listen and speak, read and write, a day for exploring, or Friday fun day, whatever you want to call it. I also color coded, and I moved the shapes, so that could be visually helpful as well for students who saying, "Oh, the green days are the the green." means are the days I'm going to be meeting with my teacher on Zoom. I'm just giving you ideas here. But one thing I promised is I was going to show you how I create the tool. So what I did was I went here to insert and I went to shape, went across here, and I didn't use the square, I used a rectangle. And well, you just want to pull it however long you want to have it across. Maybe you're going to add a color. And then the other, I'm going to insert another shape, another rectangle like I did. I grabbed it, but instead of going across, I went down. Maybe I want to, move a little bit here. And then all I did was I copied it and I started to paste them so that I can fit the boxes in this one slide. And then I didn't have to feel like I had to rearrange the sizing because it was there. It was easier just to know that they're all the same shape and I didn't have to do a thing about having to measure it again. And now you can just, change them, whatever, move them around however you want. And you can add color. Um, you decide what you want to do, whatever you need. Okay, so that's how I did this. Something else that I did, let me go ahead and take that off. Another thing that I did was I added some icons that you noticed in the other pages. And that's just me going into the internet, finding a Flipgrid logo or a YouTube logo, and then I drag it into my slide and I just resize the shape. Another question I get is how do I put the Bitmojis in? Well, I downloaded the Bitmojis and now it's here. And now Bitmojis I can actually embed in my emails and in my documents. And that's how I do it. I might want to do this one. And I just copy the image and I just save it, paste it. And there you go. That is how you see this happening. Something I want to share with you here on this last slide is from one of our teachers, again, Prabhati Krasnell, when our conversation that over one of our ELL chats, she talked about how she has really thought about what is important when you are designing that learning expectation, your learning opportunities for the kids. And she gave it even an acronym in our conversations. I call it FIT, function, intentionality, and time. And I encourage you to read this because she just points out some really good things about, you know, whatever we are creating, we have to keep in mind our families and, what's important, who will be helping them. Keep in mind to be intentional in how you are creating these tasks for the students. She's talking about time. So we were really enjoyed what she had to share. And um, she created this slide. We asked her, could you create a slide about what you said? And so she did. And she said, please go ahead and share. And I wanted you to have that. So if you ever get a chance to talk to Prabhati, join us on one of our ELL chats. She's there. I really would love for her to review this again with you. Now, I've come to the end of the presentation. I hope that you enjoyed this. I did. I hope you learned from it. I hope that you're taking away something. I really appreciate your time, and I can't wait to see you at the next ELL coffee chat. Remember that I send out the new schedule every weekend so that you have it ahead of time, and I'll be available Monday through Friday. Thank you very much, and hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.